Here we go. Hello, I have a concrete pool painted with Aqua Bright ecoFinish. The job was poorly done 5 years ago. They had to come back almost every year to do touch-ups. Bad service, bad company, but the only one at the time who offered this finish in my area. Simple question. Can you repaint a pool with ecoFinish using regular paint like epoxy, acrylic, rubber, etc. without sandblasting the surface? If yes, which type of paint do you recommend? If no, what can I do next? And it is Michael from Montreal.
All right, there's several parts of this question that I want to kind of slice apart and think about. First off, if the ecoFinish was done, obviously the preparation was not done that needed to be done on the ecoFinish in the first place. Now granted, 5 years ago, somebody new at it, didn't understand the profile they needed to create in that surface to get really good adhesion. They may not have done the steps properly. There's very specific steps, and once those steps are done, ecoFinish is fantastic. If you have constant failure of certain areas, that areas continue to fail, that has everything to do with the installation, has nothing to do with the product itself. Now, to go over that surface is really doing nothing at all. If you painted it, which you certainly could, you could paint anything over it if you could get that paint to stick properly, but you haven't solved the problem. The problem is between the mechanical bond between the ecoFinish itself, which is very different than paint, so I guess I could explain that as well. ecoFinish is a flamed on plastic that is melted to the surface. And the right way to do it is cut and create that profile, acid washing, etching, whatever you need to do, sandblasting to get that finish. There's a 50-50 process that goes on, which is half epoxy and then half acetone. And what that allows the epoxy to do is get into the pores of the concrete of the pool surface itself. Then there's a layer of epoxy that goes over that. That epoxy adheres to the epoxy that is infused into the structure of the concrete. And then the first layer, it's called the flocking coat of ecoFinish, is sprayed on. And it's really a powder coating process. It's a flamed on, pneumatically sprayed on plastic that's melted to the surface. That first surface is designed to get into the epoxy, then you let the epoxy set up, and now we have this mechanical bond that's all combined. You have your concrete, you have your first layer of 50-50 epoxy that's into the pores if you get the right profile. And I'm going to guess what happened was somebody didn't do the right preparation. They didn't get a good mechanical bond and a good aggressive finish to adhere to. But you've got that you've got the original surface, you've got that 50-50, then you've got the epoxy, and then you've got that first flocking coat that all almost become one piece together. They're all infused together. And then there's 2 more layers of ecoFinish that go over the top of that to give your final finish. So if you have all of those and you have a problem between this is the finish and this is the concrete, there's epoxy and things in between, and they have to stick together. Now, if you decide to just paint this outside section right here, whatever was happening before that delamination is going to happen again because you haven't fixed that problem. So really, ultimately, the best thing that you could do is get someone in there that knows what they're doing with ecoFinish and find all of the bad spots. And you're probably it's gonna take some work, some grinding, some mechanical effort to get those surfaces stripped back down and then to refinish the pool. By painting it, you put a 1 year tops Band-Aid on something that's bad from the start. If done properly, ecoFinish is amazing. If done poorly, and a lot of guys jumped into it thinking they had this money-making opportunity and they weren't doing the preparation, and by not doing that preparation, they've caused you some long-term issues. And the only way to fix it is to get that part stripped off and refinish it. The only other thing to do would be to get all of it sandblasted off, which sandblasting may or may not work. You more likely would have to grind that entire finish off. and then have another surface put back on there. But my recommendation first would be to find someone now in that area that's more qualified on the ecoFinish end, and it's going to cost you some money to get out of it to get this thing fixed. But get all of those bad areas completely stripped down and re-ecoFinish the whole thing would be my recommendation.